I've been unemployed for the last 2 years, thanks to our uninvited guest, COVID 2020. And during that period, your confidence, your everything takes a knock. You become so discouraged. And in the first service, I shared that men has a different type of pressure, not discounting what women feel as mothers, as wives, and just being those nurses. But we've been reared to be leaders, to be protectors, to be providers. And I sent my CV all over. I spoke to just about everybody. I even submitted it to Take a Lot. Thought that, okay, you guys take a lot, just not you. And that's a true story. You start losing confidence and all that type of thing. But I have a very loving and a supportive wife, son, and parents. And at the onset of COVID, my father instituted house altar every single day up until today. And on the days and the weeks that I felt really discouraged, less than sometimes you feel less than a human being, to be honest, that would prop me up, the encouragement. And sometimes I would just sit there and think like, okay, I just don't want to offend God, so I'll just sit there and all of that. But all this while, that was really propping me up, that was encouraging me and all of that. So there were many times that I cried. Many men are being reared saying that tigers don't cry. That's nonsense. I cry like a baby, snot and trana. Still a man, still here today. And you just take knock after knock, and you feel so discouraged and all of that. But God is faithful. God is true. God never told me or never instructed me to follow my feelings and all of that. But many a time we do it, and we tap into the wrong things. And I was there. And recently you shared a sermon, and you spoke on men in particular, the stuff that we go through. You shared on Ricky Rick that took his own life, sadly. And and you also spoke about that sometimes when you even go through your mess, your stories and your things and your issues and your snot and trana and all of that God will interrupt you because He's got somebody else that you need to share, that you need to bless with His word, with His encouragement, because that's just how God works in the earth, and that's something that I've relearned, to be honest, during this time. And the following day, I was just in a mall in a particular store, and I bumped into this Portuguese gentleman, a young guy. I shared earlier on that if you look at him from the outside, a very handsome guy, well-groomed, buff, he looks like a model. I told my wife, I met this guy, you won't say there's anything wrong with him. He's got everything going for him. But we just struck up a conversation, and before I know it, we were at a particular point in conversation where this guy just opened up, and I realized that this guy is going through so many deep, hard stuff, and I could identify with that because I've been going through that for the past 2 years. And he's had difficulty in his marriage, can't see his daughter, and his daughter is a daddy's girl, so that's been killing him. And I did the only thing I could do, because my personal words and my experience and everything can only take you that far. And I asked him if I can pray for you, can I pray with you, which I did. And I was brave enough, even during COVID, I embraced him, he embraced me, and we just prayed right there. And and that's something that I think, this is my personal opinion, that many Christians struggle with, to openly share and pray, especially in the mall, especially in the restaurant and that type of thing, even to pray for your food. We don't want to see people, see you pray and that type of thing. And I prayed for him and believed God will give him favor, because he was going for an interview the following day, and he said that I need it because it's the first time in my adult life that I've been without a job, and it's difficult. I don't know how I'm going to survive. And we prayed, and I believed, and just prayed God's favor over him, and God will give him favor in that particular interview and the way forward. And we said our goodbyes, and as I was walking out, I thought like, dear Lord, I just prayed for this guy and I'm without a job. I mean, like, am I a fake? Am I just one of those Christians that, sometimes we just play games sometimes. We call ourselves Christians and we pray, but we never believe it. And I said, Lord, this is a bit of a tough one, because I even believe that God doesn't know how to use Google because he can't trace me, he can't locate me. And then many a time you discouraged, and that's where I was, but that's why I left it. And 2 days later I got a call, not that I wanted to answer the call, and I saw this name and I thought, like, nah. But eventually I answered the call and the gentleman said, it's me. By the way, Pastor, Indians are good people. This was an Indian guy who phoned me. I love Indians. Just so you know, they're good people, straight from God. He said that I got your name from so-and-so, another Indian gentleman. And he said that I believe that you're in the market for a job. I said, yes, sir, I am. He said that, when can you see me? I said, like, well, anytime. He said, come see me the following day around about 10-ish. So I got there the following day, took me to the boardroom and that type of thing. And when I got there, it wasn't an interview, like I said in the previous service, is that when I got there, it just unfolded in front of me that somebody else that I did not know was mentioning my name in another boardroom that I didn't ask for. And he said that you come highly recommended. We have this particular task. It's the first time in our branch. We've got other branches, but in this particular one, and it's the head office. It left me a bit baffled. But we've created this position for you, and, can you do it? And which I didn't mention in the first service is that the job that they offered me is not something that I didn't have the experience full-time. I didn't do it full-time previously. It was just in my previous company. The job that I did, I had to do certain inquiries and resolve certain issues for customers. And sometimes you find those people in a company that just don't do their work, so I ended up doing that. At the time, I wasn't always happy because it just took away my time and my energy. Many years forward, God knew that experience that you didn't like so much back then is going to stand you in good stead. And he said that, so you come highly recommended. I said, okay, yes. And then the devil's always there, right there. Away, brah. It's a big task this, you can't do it. But there are times when you just need to do things afraid. Unafraid comes to mind. And later on, the CEO and one of the partners walked in and he looked at me and said, I remember you. And I met him many years before that, probably 6 or 5 years prior to that particular meeting, something that I had to resolve for him and all of that. And they said that, look, we like you. We're not going to interview anybody else. We're going to give you a team. We want you to head this team. We want you to build this thing up from the ground. It's yours. And I said, yes, thank you. And what came to mind was when somebody explained to me years ago, this is many years ago, about when God says, that I am, I am, it's open-ended. There's no limit. If I don't have anything for you, I will create it for you. And that's what God created for me. During the time of layoffs and all of that, they created that position for Sidney. Now you need to keep in mind, this is Sidney, a colored boy from down the road, Gelukdal. I forgot it town many times. Pastor, you know what I'm talking about, Janine. But God is faithful. My encouragement is that if God can do it for this colored boy, He will do it for you. Just wait.